everybody's ready, we'll just go straight into questions. CT and Zach have mics around the room. If you want to raise your hand, we've got the rest of them coming up.
Hey, Pat, what's the status of Hadley for the game tomorrow night?
Yeah, we'll see. He's still being evaluated, but we're hopeful.
Just get your thoughts on Kentucky after scouting their first 2 games of the season. What sort of problems do they pose for you guys? And
I should have said this before the first question, and usually we do a statement, but I know what everybody's here to talk about, and I want to talk about it. He does, and I know everybody here does as well. I do want to say, first of all, it's a big week in our department. Huge football game on Friday against Clemson. Volleyball's continuing to kill it. Dan's done an unbelievable job. The ACC's ridiculous this year in volleyball. I mean, you're third in your conference, you're fifth in in the country, or whatever it is, fifth or sixth. That means your conference is really good. They're coming home for 2 big games tonight. Women's basketball had a big win last night. KFD, Karen, our soccer coach, I call her KFD. Their selection show is today, and huge fan of hers. She's been here a long time. They've had a heck of a season. So we're very, very hopeful there. I think cross country has the regional meet this week. Tennis, we have a doubles pair that is in the NCAA tournament. Their selection show is tonight as well. The legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Arthur, with swim and dive, continues to do what he does and kill it. Big win this week against Kentucky. Big wins against Notre Dame. If I'm forgetting someone, Dana. So anyway, obviously there's a really big one tomorrow with men's basketball, and we're excited. So your question again was what? I'm sorry.
Going back and as you watch film of UK, what stands out to you heading into this game?
Well, obviously they're very good. Coaches, for the most part, put more stock in like KenPom rankings than they do Associated Press rankings. And KenPom has them the #1 team in the country for a reason. They're very talented. They're very good on both ends of the floor. They're very well coached, and it's a big challenge, and we're excited about the opportunity.
I guess for both of you, could you get some kind of feel for what this rivalry is like compared to, say, a Xavier UC that you grew up knowing about and that you participated in a little bit, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say they definitely have their similarities and differences. At the end of the day, they're just very, very good basketball games. 2 great teams competing against one another, whether it's Xavier versus UC or, here in Louisville and Kentucky. I know that, the rivalry runs deep, and I know that it'll be a very competitive game, and, I'm sure we'll be ready. So.
Yeah, it's what makes college basketball great. We were both part of that rivalry up in Cincinnati, and it's the same thing here in this state. And, from a national perspective, it's as big as it gets as well from a rivalry perspective.
Pat, you guys faced Jalen Lowe last season when he was at Pitt. Just what does he bring to this Kentucky team, and how do you prepare for him to kind of change what you've seen so far?
Yeah, he's a terrific player, terrific point guard, very explosive, very good in the pick and roll, quick burst, veteran. He's been a part of a bunch of big games. He's very well coached. So obviously we have a familiarity with him because we played him a couple times last year. But he presents a lot of problems, and we have to do a great job with him.
Pat, Kason Pryor was able to make his season debut in the last game and played 16 minutes. Heading into this game against Kentucky, do you think he's going to be on a minutes restriction still, or is he a full go now?
You said, do I think he's still going to be on a minutes restriction?
He's going to be on a minutes restriction at all.
He wasn't on one the other day. If you're out there, you're out there.
Pat, when you look at this team and kind of from the Kansas exhibition until now, what have you liked that they've really improved, that they've really done, you guys have been focused on since that exhibition game?
You know, focusing on what we always focus on, and that's, trying to get better at every single little nuance of our offense and defensive system. That was a little bit of a litmus test because we hadn't played against anybody else, and obviously it was a really good team and a great atmosphere. But we learned a lot about ourselves that night that we used to address in the subsequent practices, but we learned a lot about ourselves in the Bucknell game and in the South Carolina State game and the Jacksonville State game as well. As a coach, that's one of my favorite things about the growth of your team and the progression of your team moving forward is daily getting better every single day. But our guys didn't approach the next day after those other 3 games than they did after Kansas. It's always about trying to get better in our system.
Pat, with this game so early in the season, is the weight of what a win means maybe a little less because you guys are not fully going at what you think this team is going to be at the end of the season?
I'm sorry, could you say that again one more time?
Yeah, so
I was a little distracted because people never call me Pat anymore. It's always PK or Coach or Dad, or when somebody calls me Pat, I'm like, oh yeah, that's my name. You
it
distracted
is your name.
me a little bit.
Happy to use it. Is the weight of this game maybe a little less because of how early it is in the season, and you know that this team is only going to grow and develop throughout maybe the end of it?
I don't think the weight of this game's any less. I mean, it's a big game. We're very well aware of that. You guys have heard me in press conferences many times that I always say the most important game in the history of Louisville basketball is the next one we play in. The next one we play in is against our rival in a really big setting under a really big spotlight, and we're approaching it the same way we do every one, but we're very, very well aware of the stakes and the spotlight, and we're just excited about the opportunity. It's going to be a big-time college game and a big-time college atmosphere, and they're going to find out a lot about themselves, as are we, by the end of it, and the whole season's a marathon, not a sprint. Obviously, this is as early, I think, this game has ever been played. There's been a lot of talk as to why, as to whether we like it better, we like it worse. I don't know. Right now, it's the advantage of no choice. I know one thing outside, it feels like the dead of winter because it's so cold I can't even see straight getting out of my car. So it does feel like it's kind of a February game, but we're excited.
Pat. Oh, you Pat. When you watch Kentucky, what stands out about them both offensively and defensively?
I mean, what stands out is they're very good. They're very well coached. They have positional size. They're strong. They're athletic. They're physical from a defensive perspective, and they're good in their system from an offensive perspective. Same thing. They're very talented. In a lot of ways, a lot like us. They're talented. They're very deep. They play very fast on the offensive end. They're very good in transition, and then in the half court, they execute and they run their stuff. So, even before I turned on the tape and started watching them. Obviously, you knew the caliber of talent they have, and I have a lot of respect for the way they're coached and their system and things like that. So, we got to be at our best, but I'm sure they're saying the same thing.
Sorry, Tom.
Coach, did you have anything to do with Mark Pope getting jury duty, and have you ever had jury duty?
I've never had jury duty. No, never have. Did he actually have to do it? Did he get out of it? He had to call him on Saturday, but he doesn't. That makes sense. How about that? That's pretty funny. No, I've never had it, though. Knock on wood.
Ryan, since you committed to U of L, how much have you heard about this rivalry? And what do you just your general thoughts on it?
I've heard about this rivalry since I was a kid, so just having the opportunity to actually be able to play in this game is is a blessing. And, I mean, I just want to take full advantage of it and not take it for granted, you know, but just committing here and all the fans, you know, talking about the games and just hyping the game up, you know, it lets me know this is a big game, and we'll be ready.
Pat, I know a lot of people have talked about your relationship with Mark and things this summer and all that kind of stuff. How much do you guys know each other really before you both got hired in these jobs?
I mean, I was familiar with him just because in the coaching fraternity we're all in gyms together, so I've spoken to him. Probably the biggest connection was he was at Wake Forest, and I was at Wake Forest, obviously at different times, but we know so many of the same people. Like Lynn Heflin, who's the longtime basketball executive assistant, Marianne Justice, longtime executive assistant and secretary to basketball, both men and women. And in Mark's role when he was at Wake, and in my role when I was at Wake, we worked, for instance, with those people. And, you know, those people become like family. They become like second mothers to you. So I don't know if Lenny and Marianne are watching this, they're probably laughing because I've just talked to them several times, and they've shared stories about their time with Mark, and I'm sure they've done the same thing with me. But before I got here, didn't know each other well. As I told you many times, I have a lot of respect for him.
Pat, after the last game, Kaysen had some choice words about this rivalry. How do you feel about that? Do you like the passion of it, or kind of discourage that?
I mean, have you guys ever met Kaysen? I mean, Kaysen's very much of a free spirit, and I love him for it because that's who he is at his core. He's unapologetically himself. He'll come in with the pink socks and the moon boots and some of the wildest stuff that you've ever seen in your life. That's Kaysen. And KP's the type that, like, he loves the moment. He loves the smoke. He loves all of that. He loves the banter. He loves, you know, the social media stuff, which I hate. Ignorance is bliss. I don't look at any of it, unfortunately. Kids these age, they do. Kids my children's age, they do. But, you know, Dana's the best in the country at what she does, but I kind of, because KP has been out so much, he's been out so long, and I forgot that since he was playing, there was a chance that he was going to go into the press room afterwards. Completely forgot. And then all of a sudden, when I saw that, I went, you know, I should have grabbed him and tackled him and reminded him that we're from the Skip Prosser school of praise your opponents, praise your teammates. But that's KP, and that's who he is, and I love him for it.
For both of you guys, the last 3 times that Louisville has won in this series has been at home. So what does it mean for you guys to try to defend the KFC Center?
I would say it's definitely, you know, an advantage for us just having, you know, some of the best fans in the country, you know, on our side. And, you know, we'll definitely look to use it to our advantage in the game, just getting that momentum from the fans. And, I mean, we practice in the Young Center all day and night, so it should be a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.